Have you thought about making a move to Portland and you're kind of sneaking around looking at Oregon City as a possibility for you to move to? Well, in today's video, you're going to want to stick around because we're going to showcase Oregon City, all the things you need to know about it. And if you're stay till the end, we're going to talk about a few properties that are popular to buy in the Oregon City area. And we're getting after it right now.
All right, so if you're new to the channel and this is your first time here, make sure you click that subscribe button, tap that notification bell so that you can be the first to know about everything happening in this awesome Portland market.
I'm Ann Stewart. This is Erica Hagfirst. We help people buy in the Portland metro area, especially those relocating to the area. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, like Erica said, hit the subscribe button. And more importantly, if you have questions about making a move to the Portland area, all of our contact information is in the description below. We get people reaching out to us all the time. Let's have a conversation. We'd love to connect.
All right, Ann, where are we?
So we're sitting in Oregon City. We're actually at the city library as we speak. Oregon City is kind of its own little small town feel. It's at the furthest most tip of I-205. Its neighbor is directly across the Willamette River in West Lynn. It's about 20 miles approximately from downtown Portland. And it's about 15 to 13 miles from Clackamas Town Center Mall. And the reason why it's kind of unique at the furthest tip is because you can jump on the freeway and go I-205 up towards Vancouver and hit the east side, or you can jump on and go west towards the west side and connect with the I-5. And so, but it would probably take you about 15 minutes if you're at the very top of Oregon City to jump all the way down, depending on the traffic that day. And I think you have to factor for that if you buy in Oregon City, depending on where you buy. But Oregon City is a small town feel. You can basically live here, and you have a lot of amenities within Oregon City, so you can live and you don't have to go to other cities per se to get your stuff. If you want to go grocery shopping, there's a hospital here, but it butts up against rural land. So unlike a lot of suburbs or areas of Portland, it actually has rural land all around it. So it butts up against Molalla and Beaver Creek and Canby. So it's kind of got a rural feel to it as well as a suburb feel.
And it's also bordered on two sides by rivers.
Yes.
So you've got the Willamette and the Clackamas. The Willamette's to the northwest, and then the Clackamas is a little bit more just north. And so, you know, you have some very distinct, in fact, that is the dividing line between
That's right.
Oregon City and West Lynn is the Willamette River. And it gives us Willamette Falls, which is, I think it's the second largest, you know, U.S. waterfall by volume, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
There's a, you know, whole viewing point and everything for that. So really cool pull to this area, but it's a nice location, especially if you're looking for a little bit more rural or country feel, but still relatively close to the city. And so it's got good access to Portland, Lake Oswego, West Lynn, even Tualatin, Tigard, all of those other areas. So its location is pretty fantastic.
And you're probably about 20 miles, 15 miles from the Portland airport. So if you have to get on a plane a lot for traveler work, you're not too far off from that. It's actually a really quick drive to the east side of town. So if you're not looking to be directly in the east side of town, this is kind of your flavor at the end. And it does feel rural small town. So if you're not into rural small town, although the downtown area, which we're kind of sitting in, kind of feels like the Southeast Portland area. We talked about that walking up here.
Yeah, you've got a lot of Southeast Portland style homes. And when we get into the history of it, we'll dive into that a little bit deeper and why it might feel that way.
And one other thing to note is it is kind of on a hill. So when you enter into Oregon City,
not kind of, it is.
It is on a hill. As we talk about with a lot of cities in Portland, it's very hilly here. So the downtown area and kind of coming up the hill is the oldest part. But when you get on top of the hill, it's the newer part. When we say newer, we mean last 30 or so years. You've got, you know, different types of housing eras of all kinds in there. But the oldest part is at the bottom of the hill closest to the Willamette River.
All right, so a little bit about this really cool area called Oregon City. It was established originally back in 1829. We're not going to go through the whole entire history.
Old for Oregon.
It's very old. It was actually the first incorporated city west of the Rockies. back in the day, and actually rivaled Portland for a very short time, about 3 or 4 years. It was the capital area. And then Portland took over. Obviously, we've got the waterways, which makes sense on why it was a point of importance as this territory was being developed. There's a really cool feature back in the day. They decided, because this is a tale of two cities, sort of, you've got the edge that runs along the river, and then you've got the bluff, as they call it. They put in an elevator. It's super cool. It's kind of crazy. They put this in 1915 of all times, and then they refurbished it in 1955. So that has been kind of the tale of this city, is that there's a lower level, which is, as Ann said, the downtown area. It is very much older feel, lots of hills still, but once you get to the top of the bluff, that is, you still have some older homes, but definitely a lot more has been done over the years as we've, come closer to present day. And you'll see that in the home styles. I mean, a lot more newer builds, 2-story homes that are less embellished than what you'll find in the downtown area.
A lot of homes in the older part of this historic district are historic, meaning they're registered on the Historic Society. They have to open their door once a year to the public as a way to get their tax incentive. And as you drive around some of these areas, a lot of these homes are super old. They're not just 100 years old. They can be as early as the 1800s in some cases. So kind of like Erica was saying, the history behind Oregon City, if you want to go deep dive, is pretty cool. And it is one of the oldest cities we have.
They do actually have the Oregon City Museum, as well as the McLaughlin House, which all have a lot of history. And then there's the McLaughlin Trail, which you can take. It's about a 2-mile trail. Super great. Oregon's very rich, obviously. Oregon Trail.
Oh, fun fact. The Oregon Trail came through here.
Exactly what
Yeah.
I was
We
gonna
actually
say.
sold a house in Oregon City one time. This is many years ago now, but we sold a house one time that had acreage. I think it was like 20 acres. And it had a significance to it because the Oregon Trail came right through the property, and that was a big deal for that property. So
yeah. So
fun
this
fact.
is, very poignant to the history of Oregon in general. And it really does hold on to that. So lots of opportunities to go and dig into that history, but very important city. And now I would say it's kind of this hidden gem that people, if you don't want to be right in the city and you're not a West Side person, this is a great opportunity to grab some acreage or just, still get that small town feel, but have all your amenities.
So what are the types of houses that people come to Oregon City for? Like, what makes it a draw for people other than that small town feel? A big one is, like Erica kind of mentioned, is let's start with rural. This area was definitely rural. Not even 20 years ago, there was a lot more rural land. It's been built up quite a bit, more and more subdivisions and housing has gone in. But in general, if you were looking for rural property, hobby farm, true operating, whether it's nurseries or agriculture or farmland, you could actually find it in Oregon City for quite some time. Now we kind of find the hobby farmers and the people who want really big houses on land or acreage or views of Mount Hood, because we're closer to Mount Hood out here in Oregon City.
Amazing views. Of
Amazing. Like there are some, like you're not going to get these kind of views on the west side because you are technically closer.
You feel like you're right there.
Yeah, there are some,
gorgeous.
It's pretty cool. And it's further out. So if you're not looking to be close into town, you're like, hey, I'm a country person. I like being further out. I like to drive into town and get my groceries and do my things. But you're out there. This is the best of that world, in our opinion. And not to mention, you get a lot more bang for your buck on country living because the prices out here, while they are high, they're not as high for the same property type as if you were getting closer into Portland or on the west side or even in some parts of the east side. And so people like that because it has that rural true vibe. And if you're looking for a mini mansion or a mega mansion on properties, a lot of people see that they get a lot of bang for their buck. We actually had a listing, we did a video on it. Beaver Lake Estates, we just sold a house there. It's on a lake. It's a gated community, luxury, and it was a lot of house for the money, which if you go further in, you're gonna not find that as at the same price points. Also, this is the land of the RV. So one thing Oregon City did right years ago was build houses with RV parking or RV garages or third car garages, but RV being the significant one. A lot of people who are into their RVs, this is a great opportunity to come out here and find that. It's part of the culture out here. Like we said, it's rural. So there's a mindset out here that people want shops, they want to be able to have their vehicles, things of that nature. And then there's actually almost every housing type out here. There's probably not as many townhomes and condos, although they do have some. There's just not in abundance, but it's mostly single family homes that the eras from like we mentioned, the turn of the century all the way up to 60s, 70s, 80s,
New construction.
90s to new construction and present. So they do have a cadre of every type of house out here. So it's just a matter of what type of housing you're looking for.
What seems to be the situation though, in terms of like new construction, which is kind of nice, is that it's smaller local builders. And generally we don't have a lot of the bigger plots that are going in, such as they are in like the River Terrace area or other parts of Portland. And so that's kind of nice. You're still getting these smaller built homes, new homes by local builders. You generally tend to find larger lots with that, which is what is valued out
Larger
here.
lots,
This is still an area that wants to have a yard. They want to have a little bit of space from their neighbors. They like their neighbors, but they don't want to be right on top of their neighbors. They want to have that RV parking, and they want to have a yard for their dog.
Yeah.
Like, you know, chickens, because we do love our chickens out here in Portland. So yeah, I would say this is also for that kind of like small-minded farmer. I mean, there is still a lot of large acreage plots out here that you can secure and, you know, still be relatively close in to the action of town.
Yeah.
This is very close to where I'm at, 15 minutes from, you know, my amenities, and that's fantastic, you know, and that's a lot of
Fun fact, I bought my first house here in Oregon City. So I lived here for a period of time. Yeah, sorry, just had to put that in there. It's a great town.
All right, so let's talk about the downtown area. This is a really cool area. Like Anna and I said, it really kind of has a Southeast Portland vibe to it. There's a lot of restaurants, like one-off restaurants. We are not big anywhere in Oregon, I would say, in terms of having these franchises come in and take over our area. So lots of locally owned restaurants, coffee shops. Black Ink Coffee Shop is one to take note of. It's got a bookstore attached to it, little gift store, super
So
cute. Lots of other restaurants that have come in over the years. You've got fine dining, you've got just a ton of arts and wine. I mean, you know, Portland loves their beverages of all sorts. Coffee, tea, wine, beer. You know, I mean, there's nothing that we don't love to, you know, drink. And so it's been really cool to see all of these places take note of that. And then, you know, even the food court phase.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a great place called Corner 14. And it's got an established bar. So, you know, if you're an adult, you want to go get your cocktail, you can go into the bar and then you can go out and you can take whatever option you want in terms of like food. I mean, they've got everything. They've got barbecue, they've got Asian flair, they've got, you know, everything in between that you can think of. They've got all food options that you can think of. They've got vegan and, you know, gluten-free and stuff like that. So they're really bringing the city out to the country, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And then arts are a big thing too. They've got a lot of art galleries in Oregon City on the downtown area. So along with the arts and whatnot, they do a ton of holiday events. So they've got a tree lighting in December. They've got, you know, Halloween for the kids and dressing up in October. They do wine walks and the whole 9 yards. So really anything that you could possibly want in the city, Oregon City is trying to bring to itself. It's almost like it's still maintaining the essence of its history and being like, hey, we're still very important. We're like the capital of the country. And that's what we're going to call it, the capital of the country.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about demographics in schools. So the demographics are, we've got a population that's probably right around 40,000, give or take, from the last census, which is in 2020. The average household income is sitting right around 90,000, and the median housing price is at $575. So that sounds pretty good, right? Because our average in Portland is just under 600,000. Now you can buy houses well over $1 million here in Oregon City, so don't be fooled by that 575 because prices are all across the board here for no. You know.
But in all fairness, to that point, I would say that the bulk of your homes, especially if you're not looking for acreage, you're really sitting between like 5 to 750. That is like the
sweet spot
of what you're going to find out here.
Right. So
you can find the 4s, you can find a lot higher.
That's true.
The bulk of what you're going to find.
That's true. Yeah, and so as far as schools go, if that's important to you, then look online. We have to be careful as realtors to talk about schools, so I'm going to reference niche.com gives a B- to the Oregon City schools. You do have private schools as well as public schools.
And check out School Digger. They're a great one if you really want to dig into just the true numbers of someplace, how they do on test scores, and all the demographics of everything. That's a great website to check out and help you with that. Yeah, and bestplaces.net is another great website to kind of dive into the school districts. But yeah, it's a great location if you're not looking to break the budget.
and you're looking for a wide variety of types of housing, it almost feels like a mini Portland here, because when you come into the downtown area, there's all these old houses. It kind of feels like it's up and coming. There's all these new things happening. It feels like a mini Southeast or Northeast Portland. And then you get to the the top of the hill, and you've got subdivisions, and then you got acreage property. So it's kind of like a little version of all of Portland has to offer right here in Oregon City.
I'm telling you, it's the place to be.
We first stopped in to Black Ink Coffee in downtown Oregon City, right off Main Street, not to be confused with Black Rock Coffee, which is the drive-through on the further end of town. This coffee shop has been converted in part of the commercial area directly across the street from the old Mill District. This coffee shop has a vibe, and let me tell you, the coffee's pretty dang good. I ordered a cold brew with some cold foam on top. I hear that they source their coffee from Stumptown, which is great, keeping it local. They've got pastries. And something unique about this coffee shop is not only is it a coffee shop, but there are unique gifts and trinkets that you can buy in the front part. And then if you go to the back part of the coffee shop, it's something special. It's a freaking bookstore. Who doesn't love a coffee shop that takes advantage of offering more than just coffee? That means you can sit, you can get cute little gifts, you can have a book read. It really is a unique place, which is why Portlanders love these kind of shops. This is not a franchise. This is something that somebody put in here. There's a big bar area where they serve your coffee. Highly recommend this, but we always have to stop in at the local cute coffee places before we get started on our tour of wherever we're at to show you guys what Portland's all about.
Okay, so we've got house number 1. This is on Oregon City, up on the bluff. It's listed at $535. You've got, I believe, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It's 2-level, built in 2011. It's 1,631 square feet. So this is about what you're gonna find at that price point. This is a very average home. It's got nice finishes inside and a little bit of a yard, nothing huge. But this is kind of your entry-level home in Oregon City. You're so close to all the action, and kind of shows you on average towards the lower end of our range what you can get. Newer home, nice finishes, nothing to cry about. All right, so our second home is in the 600s. It's listed at 679, so toward the upper range of that, but you're getting a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-level home, 3-car garage, built in 2004, and you're at 2,740 square feet. So that's a big jump. I mean, in terms of the square footage that you're getting. This is in a great area up on top of the hill, and you're getting a pretty good sized yard. You're getting almost 2/10 of an acre, which out here these days is a nice sized yard. And so you've got a lot of options in terms of what you want to do with the yard. You could have some chickens. It's had some maintenance done to it over the years, really nice finishes inside. That is a good size home for anywhere in the Portland metro area, and you're still less than $700,000 by a chunk of change. So heading into the 700s, we're sitting smack dab in the middle of that range, set 749.9. This one is really where you start getting into the cool properties in Oregon City, or what I think Oregon City is best known for is its small acreage, where you're still in neighborhood, but you've got a half an acre. So at $750, you're getting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-level home that's about 2,000 square feet. You've got a 2-car attached garage, but then you've got a half acre to play with. It's like a little bit of country, a little bit of city, and you still are very close into all of those amenities. You've got a koi pond on this one. It's had several updates. This one was built back in 1983. And you've got a lot of really cool upgrades that have been doing. Now, something to think about when you're living out in this like middle ground of, small acreage is that you may be on a septic system. This house is on a septic system. It's had good work done to it. And then you could also be on a well or city water. It just depends on the location of where you're at. So things to think about, but this is a great value at $750 to have a half an acre and a 1-level home. So a little bonus, we pulled 4 homes for you instead of 3. This one is sitting in the 800 range, so 865. This is a 1/4 acre with a big old house on it. So 3,000 square feet. You've got a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-level, built in 1996. And this again, you know, lots of really nice updates since it's been built. You've got an oversized 2-car garage, you've got RV parking and a clean out drain. That is huge. I can't tell you folks, people love this because these are the type of people who love to take their RVs out and have a place to park it and not have to go, you know, find where you're gonna dump it. So really beautiful home throughout. It's got that kind of estate feel to it, big tall ceilings, definitely lovely area. It's got an optional neighborhood pool to this one as well. So some cool amenities to go along with having just a really nice home, big family-esque estate type property.
Hey, thanks for joining us today as we talked all about Oregon City. How cool is this city? There's so many things about it that just make it special. So hopefully you learned a thing or two. Hey, drop your comments below if you have questions or comments, and we shall see you on the next video. Bye.